Senator Ted Cruz is on a roll. I mean, if you count getting your ass handed to you multiple times, if you count that as a roll, then yes, he's on a roll. Uh, so, okay. The Republican Party, you may have noticed, is doing this particular thing with Joe Biden, claiming that he's essentially being controlled by, quote unquote, the radical left, headed by like people like Bernie Sanders. Now, my guess is that they came up with this narrative when Bernie Sanders was kicking everyone's ass in the primary before Super Tuesday. He had, won in Nevada, a very decisive win, and so a lot of people were saying, "Oh, well, it could be Bernie Sanders," until President Obama made a couple of phone calls, and the rest is history. That said, they expected him to win, and not for the establishment to rally around Biden at the last minute, but they did, and so I think they were running on possibly having a Bernie versus Trump campaign. So their strategy was, well, Bernie Sanders, he's too far left. Now, look, again, this is not a strategy we haven't heard of. They do that with basically every Democrat, to be fair, but I think they were really counting on somebody like Bernie. And so they also knew that their base is full of idiots. And so all they needed to do, they reckon, was to call Biden, who's basically a conservative Democrat, on everything but some social issues, a radical socialist, which, again, they were going to do to Bernie. But they added a twist. Instead of just calling him a radical socialist, they kept Bernie, they kept AOC, and the squad as a central kind of, group of people. And they crafted a narrative that instead of Bernie Sanders leading the party as the nominee, and being too far left, right? They turned Bernie Sanders into a shadow leader behind the scenes that was manipulating Joe Biden, quote unquote, his handlers, and leading him far left. Now, when you look at it that way, and you look at their strategy, where Bernie is basically Bernie AOC, quote unquote radical left, are controlling Biden. It really has some very negative connotations for people who are, look, people paying attention. It's anti-Semitic. Let's just call it what it is. Okay, Bernie Sanders is ethnically Jewish, so it's kind of right out there. Bernie Sanders literally lost family in the Holocaust, so it's super sick. So now, let me show you the tweet here from Ted Cruz. So he posts this, okay? Look at that. Biden Express, welcome to the radical left. Saying Biden may be the Democrat Party's nominee. Of course, they always do that. But we know who's driving the train, and of course, Bernie Sanders is driving. And then you've got, Ilhan Omar, AOC, Ed Markey, Cory Bush, Elizabeth Warren, Andrew freaking Cuomo. What? Okay. Okay. Wow. All right. So, I'm sorry. That was Ayanna Pressley, not Cory Bush. My bad. It's really hard to see those tiny little pictures. I don't even know who the guy in the far right is. I couldn't recognize him either. But okay, a couple of things here which ought to be obvious from this picture. So let's go back to it. Do trains have off ramps? No, I don't think they do. Trains do not have exit ramps. You're thinking of highways. Yes, trains can switch tracks, but that is clearly a highway exit sign. Ted, what are you doing? Have you never driven a car or taken a train before? I mean, seriously. What? You can do better. All right. There's another point here. It's a bit more substantive. Donald Trump can't pin down Biden. Why? Well, at the debate, here's a good example, he kept saying Biden was losing the radical left, while also claiming that he was being controlled by Bernie Sanders and quote-unquote the radical left. So how can you lose the radical left if you're also radical left? That doesn't make any sense. And one more thing, he doesn't really actually have the left. Oh, many of us will vote for him in November. Now, for reasons like, A, we want to get rid of you. And B, lack of a better option that actually has a chance of getting rid of Donald Trump. The Democratic establishment has succeeded in taking the Green Party off the ballot in many states. So Green Party doesn't really have a chance because the Democrats decided to hate on democracy. Unfortunate. But there's that. Now, again, there's one more thing here. Who's riding that train? Well, you got Ilhan Omar, AOC, Ed Markey, Ayanna Pressley. Okay, those people are fairly progressive. But then Elizabeth Warren and Andrew Cuomo. Wait. Now, especially Andrew Cuomo. You can make an argument Elizabeth Warren is fairly progressive, I suppose. But like Andrew Cuomo? Are you kidding me? What? Just ask anybody. Just ask Nomiki Konst. Lives in New York. Not a fan of Andrew Cuomo. Okay. Andrew Cuomo had set up Republicans in power in his state in order to defeat things like Medicare for all. Come on. Andrew Cuomo? Andrew Cuomo. Yeah, okay. All right, whatever. Ridiculous. That said, so now Twitter, once they got a hold of this image, the dunking began. And this is great. AOC, it starts with her, since she was riding the train. I must say, Ted Cruz making poorly executed memes while riding in the quiet car of the white supremacist express is pretty on brand for both him and 2020. Ed Markey, also on the train, just pointed out, trains don't use highway exits. There are other people who were not on the train who pointed out, like Don Moynihan, for example, said, yes, that well-known radical leftist, Governor Cuomo. Chris Hayes says, there's a lot that's funny about this, but perhaps funniest is Andrew Cuomo as part of the radical left. Ask actual members of New York's radical left about Cuomo. And finally, Nathan J. Robinson was probably the best here. This says, every Republican criticism of Democrats makes leftists go, if only. Oh my God. That is 100% true. I've said this before. If only Joe Biden were half as leftist as Republicans paint him as, then maybe we'd actually get some decent health care and fix some of the problems in this country. But unfortunately, no, not true. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.